I'm Tia. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to share with you the books I plan on reading during the month of June. So I'm having a little bit of a problem with my TBR this month. I have some definite books that are priorities because they are for read-alongs, but then I just have so many books that I want to read that I'm having trouble deciding which ones I should put on my TBR. Plus I have a ton of NetGalley arcs that I need to get to, and that just makes it really hard to narrow down which ones I should make my priority. So I'm going to share with you first the ones that I'm definitely 100% going to read this month, and then some more that are possibilities for the month. The first one is Anne of Ingleside by L.M. Montgomery. This is the 6th book in the Anne of Green Gables series. I am co-hosting a read-along of this series this year, and I will leave a link to the Goodreads group if you would like to join us. Me and my co-host Amanda, we have been enjoying reading through this series, and we only have 3 more books left. And I believe that this one is going to follow Anne and her husband, and it looks like from the picture more children than there were in the last books. This will be interesting to see where Anne's journey takes us in June. Next I have I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith. I'm co-hosting a read-along of this book during the month of June from June 14th through June 20th. I will leave a link to that announcement video down in the description box if you would like to read this with us. This follows a young woman, I believe she's a teenager in this book, as her family in England is trying to live in this crumbling down castle, and it is told through diary entries from her perspective. Her name is Cassandra, and I'm really looking forward to this one. It's been on my TBR for quite some time, and I've heard great things about it, so I think that June is going to be the perfect time to read this, and hopefully you are planning on joining us in the read along. The next book I'm going to read is going to be for my Discord buddy read group. So every month I put up a poll of 3 books that I got from Book of the Month Club and let you all vote in that poll, and that decides what we will be reading in the Discord group. This month the winner was A Good Marriage by Kimberly McCreight. This is a domestic thriller, and I've heard good things about this one so far, and this author as well. This book did not win by a huge landslide, but it's a definite winner, and so I'm looking forward to reading that with the group. I will leave a link to the Discord group down in the description box if you would like to hop over there and discuss this book with us during the month of June. Then after that, my husband and I have some books that we are trying to read together. We have decided to start reading some romances together, and I have 3 that we are hoping to read during the month of June. The first one is Mermaid Inn by Jenny Holiday. This one he has already started. He's about halfway done. That's his bookmark there. This one is a contemporary romance, and it's following a woman named Eve who has just inherited her aunt's Mermaid Inn back in Matchmaker Bay, and so she is returning there to take over the inn, and she runs into someone from her past who I believe is like a police chief, is what the back says. My husband says that he is enjoying it so far, and so I am really looking forward to reading it as soon as possible to catch up with him. The next one we're going to read is Reborn Yesterday by Tessa Bailey. So this one is a new vampire romance that has just come out this year, and I don't really know much more about it than that. I think that will be interesting to read with my husband. He, doesn't really read romance that often, and he really doesn't read vampires that often either, so this will be fun. Then the third one we are going to read in June is Rebel by Beverly Jenkins. This one is a historical romance, and it is following a woman named Valinda. I think this takes place right after the end of the Civil War in New Orleans, and I think she is a teacher. I've heard wonderful things about this author and this book in particular, and I have been dying to read it, and so I'm really looking forward to the 2 of us getting to read it together in June. Then I have 2 books that I received finished copies of from the publisher, so I really need to get to them as soon as possible as well, and these are from Forever, which is an imprint of Grand Central Publishing. So thank you so much to them for sending me these finished copies. These two look like perfect summer reads, so I think June is going to be a great time to read them. The first one is Summer at Firefly Beach, and this is by Jenny Hale. This one is following a woman whose aunt has also died. Sounds kind of similar to Mermaid Inn, but she's returning back to her aunt's beachside house and finds that her aunt has left her a bucket list for her to complete, and so she spends the summer going through that bucket list and just learning lots of things about herself. I believe that she meets someone who's a newcomer to the town and maybe romance ensues. The next one is another novel also by Jenny Hale, and this is called The Summer House. It follows a young woman who is following her dream and deciding to invest all of her savings into a beach house out in the Outer Banks in North Carolina, and she meets someone while she's there and romance ensues. So I'm really looking forward to reading both of these contemporary romances. They look like the perfect summer reads. My top priorities, along with trying to work through some of my NetGalley arcs. I'm not sure exactly which NetGalley arcs I'm going to get to, so I don't want to list those here. But then I have some other ones that I really want to read, and so the rest of these are possibilities, like high possibilities at this point, but I can't make any promises that I'm going to read them for sure in June. But definitely ones I want to get to as soon as possible. The first one is White Fragility. This is a nonfiction book written by Robin DiAngelo, and this book is about racism and why white people often get really defensive when we talk about racism. So I'm really interested in reading this book, and I'm hoping to get started on it as soon as possible. I really think it's an important topic that I definitely need to learn more about. So next is the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. I've talked about this recently in a book haul because it just came out and I bought it like immediately. But this one, as you can tell, I'm sure is following a book club, and I think that a new neighbor moves in, and I believe he is a vampire, and it just sounds really interesting. I heard that it is pretty dark and grim at times, but I just can't wait to read this one. I would also really like to read The Switch if I have time this month. This one is by Beth O'Leary. This is following a woman who decides to switch houses with her grandmother. One of them lives in London. The younger woman lives in London, and the grandmother lives in Yorkshire, and so they decide to switch houses for a period of time, and it just follows them, and I really can't wait to read this one. Next is Una Out of Order by Margarita Montemor. This is another book that has come out recently that was all over Instagram, and it just sounds really interesting to me. From what I understand, it basically follows Una, and every morning when she wakes up, she's at a different age in her life. Like one day she can be 50, and then the next day she would be 19. So she's just sort of living her life completely out of order, and you follow along with her, as I'm sure she is probably going to learn lots of important lessons along the way. Okay, and the final one on my list of possibilities that I would really like to read in June is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. This is the new prequel to the Hunger Games that just came out this month. I believe it follows President Snow back before the original trilogy, and I just really am interested in this because I loved the Hunger Games. I would love to be able to read this and then reread the Hunger Games. I don't know if I have time in June to read all 4 of them, but hopefully I can at least get this one. All of my priorities and some possibilities for the month of June. Like I said, I will hopefully I will be able to get to all of these, and hopefully even more than this, because like I said, I have a ton on NetGalley that I need to read and review as well. So let me know in the comments down below if you are planning on reading any of these books in June. I would love to hear about it, particularly if you are joining in the Analong or the I Capture the Castle read along, or if you're joining me in the Discord group with a good marriage. I would love to know that as well. And any other thoughts that you have about any of these books that I've mentioned, just leave it all down in the comments below so that we can have a good chat about it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.